All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger of naturalnews.com, doing a rare video interview today with someone that I'd like you to meet because she's got a really fascinating story about health transformation and how she became a health coach that's helping many others navigate the difficult realm of nutrition and healing. Her name is Marcie Peters, and her website is thehealthandhappinessguide.com. And she joins us now by Skype video to tell her story. Marcie, it's nice to join you today.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for taking the time to chat with us on this and share your message with so many other people. Let's get to the basics here. You are now a health nutrition coach. Can you tell us, first of all, how's that working for you? Is it rewarding? Are you able to find clients? What do you do exactly as a health coach? And then tell us how you got into it.
Okay. So, well, I got into it because 18 years ago I got sick. It was kind of like the perfect storm of, what was happening in my life with stress and with different environmental stressors and psychological stressors. I got a flu shot. I got really sick, and basically I just never got better. My body almost went into shutdown, and the doctors were baffled, and they couldn't quite figure out what was wrong with me. And I actually remained in that state of illness for about 16 years, and so it was a super long journey of just trying to figure out what was wrong with me, and going to doctor after doctor and not really getting answers, and really feeling just very confused. And I had to do a lot of research and educate myself and really turn things around and realize that it was up to me to do that. So it made me really
That's the turning point.
Yeah, so it made me really super passionate to not have other people suffer like I did, and definitely not for so long. I mean, it was just a long, bleak, dark journey. But now I'm so grateful for it. It's turned out to be such a blessing, and I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for that long journey. So I really do appreciate that.
I think that also gives you the background that you need to help other people who are going through the same journey. Do
Exactly.
most of your clients come to you after having a health crisis of some kind, or why do they come to you?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons people come to me, is because they know that I've been able to turn around what was called incurable by doctors, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, meaning they didn't know what it was. And also, then I have other people who want weight loss, who just want to be healthier and feel better, and they're just struggling in some way in their life. And the health stuff is keeping them back from being the person that they want to be, and so they come to me for that assistance. And it's really rewarding to see them completely transform. And we start with nutrition and health because that is the basics of physical health, the foundation, and then it just goes from there. So then it goes into the spiritual, the emotional, the mental part of it, and we work on all areas of their lives.
Wow. Yeah. Well, because once you start changing your food, everything else changes too.
Yeah, yeah. Food. So food not just changes you physically and changes how your body is manifesting its genetics, but it also gives you an entree into starting to trust and love yourself. So at the basis of my program is that we're making these changes out of a place of love, loving and honoring yourself, not to necessarily even lose weight or just look better, but to actually be that vibrant person and do it from a place of loving yourself. And once you start trusting yourself to make good decisions with your nutrition and the foods you're eating, something as basic as what foods you're eating, then that self-love can start to grow because you've developed this trust and commitment to yourself. And it just is a springboard for all sorts of other transformation in every area of your life.
Gosh, I really like the way you describe that, because one of the transitions that's so crucial for our culture is to get away from the idea that, oh, your doctor is responsible for your health and you're not, and get into the idea that, wait a minute, you make a choice every time you eat something or drink something or put something on your skin. That is
Yes.
your choice to either
Yes.
love your body and your health or to destroy it. And
Yeah.
that's a personal choice, and it's your responsibility.
Yeah, so for a long time I was in denial, and I didn't want to basically take personal responsibility. And that was the big paradigm shift for me, is that I had to move into that place of, I am creating this, I am the creator of my life, and those are my choices, and I can't look to other people to fix me, and
Yeah.
especially the medical community. It's actually not their job. We have a responsibility to ourselves to take care of ourselves, and then they're there as support people.
Now, I know that a lot of people watching this, especially women, it seems, might themselves be interested in doing what you're doing as a health coach. You know,
Mhm.
many people are unsatisfied with their day job, so to speak. Or maybe they feel a calling to help people heal. They want to work for themselves. They for whatever reason. Now, you graduated from, or your certifications from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And you're based in San Diego.
Yes.
What is it like to do what you do? Because I know you have some remote clients as well as local clients, but what would you say to other women, especially who are thinking about doing what you do? What would your advice be to them?
It's an amazing field to be in, and I think if you really have a passion for it, you should absolutely follow your dreams and start reading, start educating yourself and researching, which if you have a passion, you're probably already doing, and then look into the different certification programs. IIN is great. There's other ones out there, and find what really resonates and works for you, something that's feasible and realistic and you can complete. IIN is a year-long program, and it's fairly easy to do. It's not a huge time demand, and you can do it with the job and with other things going on. But it is such a rewarding business, and I've seen client after client just turn their lives around, and there's just nothing like it.
That's great to be able to be part of their healing. Whereas I know a lot of doctors, GPs, some specialists, and they tend to be very unsatisfied with practicing medicine. They went into it for the right reasons. They wanted to help people, but they end up writing prescriptions.
Right.
Whereas you get the opportunity to really consult with people, get to know them, and explore pathways to healing, it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah, we're working, like I said, not just on the nutrition front, but we really, over time, look at their hopes and dreams and life purpose and relationships and self-esteem and how they feel about themselves. We go back to childhood sometimes and look at those beliefs that you accumulate in the years 0 to 8, because those are the formative times where you just start accepting beliefs in, without questioning them, because we don't have the
Yeah.
cognitive ability. And oftentimes those are the underlying programs that are running our lives without us even realizing it. So there's a lot of deeper work, and it really goes into spiritual, emotional, and every level.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, and it reminded me of a conversation I had with a person once about this very topic. They were telling me that well, this person was struggling with obesity and addiction to sweets, and he said that every time he eats chocolate cake, he feels loved.
Right.
And I said, well, your parents did you when you were 7 years old? Should like cake. So he had grown up being trained that chocolate cake equals love. And that's,
Yeah.
as you just mentioned, sometimes you got to go back and you got to wait a minute. That shouldn't equal that. Let's rework this whole belief system here.
Yeah, there's associations that are there, and there's emotionally, it's called emotional eating when people have certain associations like that, or they're eating for other reasons other than physical hunger. And so, really looking into that and not judging or criticizing yourself, but just figuring out, starting to develop an awareness of why you're doing certain behaviors, and then that awareness can lead to a change in behavior.
That's so powerful. Yeah, just to look at yourself from as if you were your own consultant, but you're coached with someone like you. But to step back and look at yourself and say, what am I doing and why am I doing that?
Yeah,
It's powerful.
so my philosophy is we all have the answers we need inside of ourselves, and sometimes it's hard to access those answers. You can do that through meditation and different things like that, but it's still sometimes hard to access our own answers. So what a good coach does is not tell you what to do, but actually draw those things out of you so
Uh-huh.
that they come into the light and you can figure out what's appropriate for you. But it's internally generated. It's something that we all have inside of us, is that inner wisdom and that intuition.
Good point. Now I'd like to ask you a little bit more about what it takes to do what you do. If you don't mind me asking, you mentioned before that your background is in IT or some technical writing.
Yes.
Um, I guess someone from almost any walk of life could pursue becoming a health coach, but
Mhm.
can you describe, clearly there's some marketing work involved. You have to
Yes.
go out and get clients. You have to share this message. How hard has that been, or easy has it been for you? How does that work?
Yeah, so there's this whole component that you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, even though it's a business of one or maybe a couple people, that you have to do that yourself. You don't just, start coaching people, because first you have to find those clients and
Yeah,
get them to find you. So
right.
yeah, there's this whole other piece of it, and there's different ways to approach it. There's online, there's locally, and there's all sorts of different strategies. For me, it's been a building process and getting your name out there. And I do a telesummit every year, and I interview experts such as yourself and bring those together, and then they market the summit, and so that helps spread the word. There's also ways you can look in your local community and partner up with doctors and chiropractors and other types of people in the medical industry and
Uh-huh.
develop this referral relationship. You can go and do speaking events in your local community. So there's all sorts of different strategies, but I will say that that takes up the majority of your time until you're to the point where you just have such good name recognition that you're not having to go out and find clients as much. But that's
Uh-huh.
a huge chunk of it. It really is.
Well, that's true with any new venture, isn't it? You've got to put in the time up front to build
Yeah.
those connections and build a client base. Um, I would. What is the average duration that a client stays with you? Do they meet with you for 12 weeks and then they're done for a while? Do they come back? What normally happens?
So everyone's different. I do have a 3-month program. Actually, let me back that up. In some cases, I let people just do a session, a series of 3 sessions. And actually, for some people, that's enough. I had one lady that had her 3rd session last week. And when we first spoke, she was in bad shape. And now she's doing amazing. It was all about life purpose, is what those 3 sessions was about.
Uh,
So in that process, she identified what she really wants to be doing and what makes her heart sing and what kind of wakes her up, because she was kind of sleeping through life, if you know what I mean.
uh-huh.
So sometimes that's enough. Usually it's a 3-month process, and then after that, we will evaluate whether to continue working together. And oftentimes they do need additional support, but not always. So I leave that open because I don't want it to enable people. I really just want to be the springboard where they can start coming up with their own answers, and their habits are established and they're in a good place to continue that forward momentum. But I like to consider this like a kickstart.
Well, that's a good way to put it. Um, and for those who are out there looking for a nutrition coach or coaching like what you offer, uh, I'd like you to offer them some tips of how to choose somebody, what to look for. Because I was in Austin the other day looking through one of these natural awakenings types of magazines. It has a lot of advertisements for local events, and I noticed there was a local event going on that the headline was "Become a life coach in one day, $595 certified." And I'm thinking, I'm not sure that somebody could learn in one day enough to help people. So obviously, there's a huge spectrum of schools and certifications out there. What do you tell people to look for?
Well, first and foremost, find someone who has experienced and overcome what you're struggling with. So, someone who's farther along the path than you are and where you want to be. So, I've also been working with business coaches for my own business. And so, when I look for a business coach, of course, I look for someone who is doing really well, who's making the money that I want to be making, so that they're my mentor and I can look to them. So, that would be the first thing, is someone who can and also can really empathize with where you are because they've been there. And someone who walks the walk, someone who does what they're asking you to do and isn't hypocritical about it. For myself, I eat very, very clean. I buy all organic. I really take care of myself, and I really do what I ask my clients to do, or else I wouldn't have them do it. I wouldn't ask them to do it. I just wouldn't be able to, in all good conscience, do that. So I think that's really important. And then someone, lastly, who has worked with a lot of people, who has the experience, who knows how to help people and has a good track record of doing that.
All right. So here's a question that you might not expect, but your website, thehealthandhappinessguide.com, would you be available to help people who are watching this to coach them of how to become a coach?
Yes, so I have been approached by other people to do that, and I have done that on occasion. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, if this is a great calling, and it's an amazing way to bring your gifts into the world, and I absolutely would be willing to do that with various people.
You're not worried about the competition out there.
You know what? There's enough for everyone. There's plenty of money. There's plenty of clients. I mean, if we get to the point where no one needs health coaches because we're all so healthy, yes, then we would have won as a world, as a society.
Yeah.
So yes, please.
And I always think, your doctor should be your first health coach anyway, but they're not. They're under such time constraints. Again, I know a lot of doctors, they're well-meaning people, but the system is set up in such a way that they can't even really have a dialogue with you.
Yeah, even the alternative holistic practitioners who spend more time with you, who don't take insurance and you're paying out of pocket, they don't necessarily keep up with you. So I make myself available to clients by email, by text. They can even call me if they need to, if we need to jump on the phone in between sessions. I really want to be that person standing by their side and not letting them fall down. I'm holding the space for their transformation, and I'm believing in them until they can start having that belief for themselves. And doctors just aren't really set up to do that, and that's okay. That's not their purpose or their function necessarily, but a coach, that's exactly what we're here for.
Now, you've got coming up later this year the Transform Your Health World Summit, correct?
Yes.
Can you just tell us a little bit about what's going on with that summit?
Absolutely. I'm super excited about this. This is turning into an annual event. So I did my first event last year in the fall, and it was so successful. We reached thousands and thousands of people around the world. And what I do is I bring in experts who are all basically in the holistic, natural, alternative health industry. They're MDs, they're nutritionists, they're mind and body experts, they're motivational speakers, all sorts of different people, even in the relationship categories and exercise and fitness. And I interview all of them, and then I release the interviews for free, just as a service to people who are trying to better their health and transform their health. And this is a vehicle to help take them there, at least a first step.
Okay, and so you interviewed me for this year's summit, so I'll be sharing that link with our audience when the time is right. But I really enjoyed doing that interview with you, so thanks for that. That was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So, any final thoughts you'd like to share before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I really do think that health is a journey, and enjoy that journey. We're so quick to want to get to the finish line and just have everything be the way we want it, to feel amazing and have the body and have everything. But you know what? Then you miss all those steps along the way. You miss that beautiful journey and that beautiful unfolding. And it's a process really of getting to know yourself and trusting yourself and loving yourself. And so if you're trying to race to the finish line, you miss all those beautiful steps along the way, which is that relationship that you can really develop with yourself. So I think that's the first thing, that's really important, is to enjoy the process. And then also, my message is one of hope and inspiration, that no matter how bad your health is, no matter how dire and dark and bleak it seems, I was in that place for years and years, and I actually had a point in time where I had to make a decision if I wanted to continue because it was so bad. I was practically bedridden. But there's always hope to turn it around. There's always a way to turn it around. And it starts with personal responsibility and making that decision that no matter what, you are worth taking care of yourself. You are magnificent. You are amazing. You are unique. And there's no one that has the gifts and the talents that you do. And you've made a commitment to yourself that you will turn it around and do anything that you need to. And just knowing that and knowing that there's hope and there's ways and there's resources, there's all sorts of free resources and there's health coaching, so when you make that commitment to yourself, things will start to line up and you'll start to have the support that you need to move out of that dark place and into the light again.
I really like the way you described that. You're right. It is a journey, and the journey is where wisdom comes from. That's the personal growth, is the journey.
Right. It helps make you who you are, and along the way, it helps really love who you are. You've been through a lot with yourself, right? If you think about it, it's an amazing transformation, and really just appreciating every step of the way.
Well said. Marcie Peters, everyone. And her website is thehealthandhappinessguide.com. Marcie, I want to thank you for joining me today for this interview and wish you the best in your ongoing coaching.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Mike.
All right, take care now.
Bye.